break down each of the
Yeah.
four guys, or how, like, a little bit on each one of them?
Well, we received 4 national letters of intent during the early signing period, which ended yesterday, and really, obviously, very excited about the group that we have. This is our 9th recruiting class as a coaching staff at Arizona. Hard to believe, and I think it has the makings of potentially being our best. I know a question that oftentimes comes up, are you done? I don't know in today's market of college basketball if you're ever done, because you really can't predict your roster from year to year. I know that's not just at Arizona, that's everywhere, but especially at a high level, Pac-12 conference school, et cetera. So with the 4 that we have, I think learning from our past of what works, maybe learning from our past of what we're trying to stay away from here. We wanted a couple of things. Number one, obviously talented basketball players, guys that understand, and we understand in recruiting them, that the expectations here in our basketball program are extremely high. We know what we're expected to do. We know what our goals are. And when you have goals as lofty as we have, this is a program that isn't for everybody. You have to love the game, and you have to be talented. And I think those are the 2 things from a basketball perspective we really looked at. Do they love the game of basketball, and are they a talented athlete? More important, who they are as people and the families they come from academically. Are they handling what they're supposed to? And you know what? That doesn't mean that everyone is equally talented as a student. Some are more talented than others. But they all have come to Arizona with the understanding that there's more to this than just playing the game. There's more to this than just showing up at practice, that there's an additional responsibility to pursue your education and to be a part of something that's bigger than you trying to become an NBA player. And in all 4 cases, again, all of them are different, all different backgrounds. But that was really a starting point for our coaching staff and our program, and I don't think that'll be compromised moving forward. The love of the game is big for us because everybody wants to be an NBA player, and certainly these kids, they all come to Arizona wanting to start and wanting to have great careers, and rightfully so. But you cannot improve players, and they will not get to where they want to get to if they don't have a foundation of that they love basketball. This is a place where you have to love the game, because you're going to have to put in a lot of hard work, both from a team perspective and to reach your individual goals. So Alex Barcelo, I'll start with him. He's a point guard from Phoenix, an incredible student. I think has the makings to be an incredible leader. Has some characteristics of T.J. McConnell that we've learned to love. I think that he has a fire inside of him and a toughness, a love of the game, like we just talked about, that at that position you love to have, and really elated to have him. Alex is not small. He's 6'1", 6'2", has a good build to him. The other thing that we love about Alex is, in addition to his playmaking skills, he can really shoot the 3. He can make free throws, and the game has changed. The ability to shoot the 3-point shot is valued more now, I think, than ever before. We recognize that, and I think when you recruit a perimeter player, you certainly want to have that as part of their identity. Being that he's from Phoenix, makes it nice for his family, and he comes from a great family. He's already won several state championships, as 2 sisters who've won state championships as well. So, I think that winning is a real part of his background. Brandon Randolph, we identified Brandon in his junior year, and again, Brandon a year ago or 2 years ago wasn't nearly as well thought of as he is today. He's improved and come on the scene in a big way over the last 2 years. Again, as we've learned about our own recruiting efforts, those that really are on that fast track, they seem to continue on that fast track. There's a reason that all of a sudden they go from nowhere to being one of the best players in high school basketball. So Brandon, like Alex, exceptional shooter. Not a small two guard, more 6'5", 6'6" than he is 6'3" or 6'4". And again, when you have that type of frame, strength and conditioning can really continue to give you additional skills that you may not have right now. He has got a great frame. I think he's a thin guy, but where his body will go over the next couple of years, it's very exciting to think about. But he's more than just a shooter. He's a basketball player. He knows how to play, passes the ball, plays on one of the best high school teams in the country with several other very, very good basketball players. And that winning environment, both on the travel team circuit and the highly competitive environment in his own high school, winning background. He's also a high-character kid, great student, tremendous family, and we're really, really excited to have him. Emmanuel Richardson, who's obviously one of our assistant coaches, goes way back with his family. That certainly helped our efforts there in establishing a relationship. Ira Lee is the one that we've probably been with the longest in terms of our history in our recruiting efforts. And we identified Ira a long, long time ago and offered him a scholarship early on in his high school career because he's a guy with an incredibly high motor. He plays the game with tremendous energy. He's involved in so many different plays on offense and on defense. I think from a defensive perspective, he has a chance to be great. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, Aaron Gordon. If you're watching Keanu Pinder learn our system, you know, Ira has that type of athleticism, size, quickness, but mostly a mindset, a toughness that we really, really love. He is also a versatile player where I think he can play more than one position. He gives us tremendous versatility in that regard because you can play him with a lot of different types of combinations. He's not a one-position player. And he's had a couple injuries, but he's almost fully cleared from his latest, which is shoulders. But he should be full go. We don't look at that as being a hindrance to him at all in college. And we dealt with that same injury with Ryan Anderson when Ryan transferred from Boston College. Again, Ira, you know, his father is a professional athlete, played for the Oakland Raiders, played at USC, has raised his son to work extremely hard. And Ira, like Brandon and like Alex, is also a very talented student and somebody that we're really, really excited to add to our program. Also, you know, from the state of California, which is the lifeblood to our program over the last 25 years, and we want to continue to do a great job recruiting in that state. And then finally, DeAndre Ayton. You know, DeAndre, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He's one of these once in a generation types of players. He is big, 7 foot. The fact that he hasn't lifted weights is astonishing to me because when you look at him, when you shake his hand, he has a physical presence as a young person that you don't oftentimes see. So one thing for sure, I'm really excited to get him with us, plug him into our strength and conditioning program, which, as you guys know, is a real part of our program. And I think his body will continue to develop and change in a big, big way. A lot like Lauri Markkanen. If you watch Lauri, just physically as he's changing, you know, he's the furthest thing from thin. And DeAndre has even a higher starting point. I think he's about 250 right now, and where Lauri would be maybe 230. So the starting point of 250, never lifting weights, you know. But the thing that's striking about DeAndre as a player is he is really smart. He's smart. He has the know-how of how to play with 4 other players that not a lot of big guys have. He can pass. He can step away from the basket. He can dribble the ball. He's a skilled player. And, you know, with 7-footers, sometimes those guys play the game because they're tall. He loves the game. I mean, he's obsessed with being a great player. And because of that, I think his future obviously is incredibly bright. And we're all looking forward to providing him an environment where he can grow, but also where he can give us and give it our team and give the recruiting class he's a part of that special player that can go inside and out. And I think the last part about DeAndre as a player is, he's got a nasty streak to him. He's competitive. He wants to win. He fights in a good way. He battles, and I think that we're obviously extremely excited. Whoever the experts are, whoever you consider the experts, have him as potentially the #1 player in his class. That's how we look at him. That's how I look at him. So it's obviously a great day to be able to have somebody of that talent coming into our program. But he is truly a part of a recruiting class. Those the 3 other guys that make up our class, I think will complement him extremely well, and vice versa. You can't do it alone. You need help. And I think that group of 4 is a very, very exciting group for us to have, especially here in November, where now we can spend some of our remaining efforts to add what I hope is 1 more to the class. And we're not going to obviously sign that 1 more early, but we certainly hope to be able to sign 1 more player late. What position that is, that remains to be seen. We're going to certainly not duplicate, but I think that the way the game's played and because of so much change we experience, it's not right sometimes to just say we only need this, because what you need in November and what you need in February could be 2 different things.
Can you go through a little how you got DeAndre in particular? That seemed like an interesting one, because there was talk that you guys weren't involved. I mean, I know you went way back with him, but maybe as early summer, it was a real question mark where he was going to go, or even if he was going to go to college at all. But when did you start to think maybe the tide had turned that this could work out?
Well, he is going to go to college. Right, that's #1, and I think any time that you're up here as a basketball program, I know Mike Krzyzewski. He's been so great for so long. There's a lot of people that love to see him lose or Duke lose. Well, that's the ultimate compliment to both Mike Krzyzewski and Duke's basketball program, because they've been at the top for so long. People love to knock them down. The New England Patriots, the same. Well, DeAndre is that player that, he's been the top dog really since he's come to the United States, and there's a lot of people that would love to, A, be a part of him, and B, to knock him down. So, academically he's doing extremely well. He's going to college. One of the things that really helped us is a thing that hurts us a lot of times, in that, we don't have a plethora of players on our team from the state of Arizona. We love the state of Arizona, obviously, Tucson, Phoenix, and when there's that player that can fit into our program, we want to do a great job recruiting that player. But many times, we're going to other states and we're recruiting, top talent in the backyards of other elite programs. In this case with DeAndre, the thing that helped us the most is he relocated to Phoenix, and his mom left the Bahamas to come here to the United States, and she's a real significant factor, obviously, in his life, as it should be. And they love the warm weather. They love Phoenix. They're not people that love the hype and the shine that a lot of these families and kids tend to like in the recruiting process. And they wanted a safe environment, an environment where he could grow and develop, and certainly an environment where he could reach the lofty goals that he has. And we offered all 3.
At what point did you kind of change course in how you were recruiting? Because you just said you were kind of going at it differently, and why? In terms of recruiting the people you were playing, because you said
no. I think that in any sport industry, what was 2-3 years ago isn't the same today, and it's up to all of us to adjust. I mean, look at the industry that you guys have. I'm sure all of you do your job a little bit different today than maybe you would have done 5 years ago or 3 years ago. So, I think with the change, I said it after last game we played. We went out to McHale Court in the second game of our season with 10 players who we were counting on who weren't a part of that game. I mean, that's almost impossible, But we're not the only program that's experiencing, change. You throw injuries in and a couple unexpected things, you have a brand new group and a brand new team. So I think part of what we're trying to do is identify those that really fit how we run the program, that can that can be successful in what I would consider a very high-pressure environment at Arizona, where expectations are rampant to win, and that expectations as an individual are that you're going to be a college basketball player. When you leave college, you're going to have an opportunity to be a pro. So that can't be for everybody. And, sometimes when we have made our mistakes, and we have, that we try to reflect on, okay, what could we do different the next time? And the love of the game, everybody acts like they love the game, but if you really investigate some of these players that we're recruiting, they love it more than others. And we have a couple on our current team, and Lowry would stand out. He loves the game. I mean, it's easy for him to come to practice. It's easy for him to do extra. It's not like pulling teeth. And when you have to, pull teeth to get these guys to do what they're supposed to or do extra, it's almost like it's not a good fit. So I think first and foremost, that's the one thing that we've tried to establish early on, because those are the guys that have been successful here for us.
So more so, not so much less one and dones, but less guys who love to play the college game.
Right. And with one and done, like we might have 5 players on our team who either wanted to be or think they are one and done. So realistically, how many are there? That's a big deal. I think it's okay to go for that as a player. It's okay to have those aspirations. But for any of these young people to look at themselves as a failure at 19 years old because they had a very good freshman year on an outstanding team or a very good team, and they're not part of this year's first round of the NBA draft, it's like, that's so unfair. I watched Kentucky play the other day, and, we have a track record with Isaiah Briscoe. And, I've coached him on a USA team. We recruited him a little bit. I obviously know Kentucky staff. And, man, you look at him today as a player for Kentucky and the command he has of his team, the leadership, how easy the game looked the other night in Madison Square Garden against Michigan State. And then you think back to how he would have looked a year ago. It's like night and day. Well, it almost should be night and day, because I'm sure he's had a great offseason. He's a very good player, and he's got an incredibly bright future. It just didn't happen for him in the first 6 months of his college experience. So that's the other part, and being able to manage that as a coaching staff is very, very important.
It does feel as if this is the first signee press conference where you have kind of your way to stress the love of the game, and that's the bridge it feels like, right?
Right, the love of the game, and also, truly those that it's okay to want to come here and be the #1 pick in the NBA draft, to have a chance to be an NBA player at some point. Those are the most talented prospects out there, the lifeblood, of teams who have a chance to compete for a national championship. We're not running from that. It's just, I think that whether you're an elite player or a top 100 player, the foundation of allowing them to grow and reach those goals stems from their own work ethic, really them and their families understanding that this is going to be difficult, it's going to be challenging. You have to sign up for a program that I want to be a part of something bigger than just my individual goal. And I love the game of basketball, and I'm willing to put in the work year-round, the extra. I love practice. Practice is everything to me. I love playing the game, because we have found that those are the guys that stay with it. They don't give in, and they truly improve. If you have to force feed these guys, hold their hand to do things, it's too highly competitive. They end up not staying on track with maybe what we had hoped or what they had hoped when they came here.
Go ahead. How do you end up determining that? Is it through conversations with coaches? Can you tell that just by watching them play, practice?
Everything, it's today's a day really that, the accolades for us, if we've had a great recruiting class, and we love our 4 that we've signed for sure, it's about our assistant coaches as well. I mean, we have a great staff. Joe Pasternak, Emmanuel Richardson, Mark Phelps, you know, and really our team, our players. You know, when a lot of times a reason a young person chooses Arizona is the feeling they get when they leave here from the players that are already here. And, you know, that they have conversations that sometimes mean more to them than the conversation they have with the coach. They know what we're selling, what we've said, and they want to double check with the players that are here. So our coaching staff, the tireless work ethic, you know, being on multiple red-eye flights, you know, recruiting all day, all night, a relentless approach regardless of the time of year. You know, I think back to May and August, 2 months that a lot of people don't think about college basketball. It's like you're endlessly working at recruiting to get the right people. And then that doesn't mean you're going to get everybody. You know, we've lost our fair share too. So, but those three, our staff works tremendously well together, and those guys all in their own right are excellent. And I'm fortunate. The head coach gets a lot of credit in the recruiting, and the assistant coaches deserve far, far more than they get.
This may be out there, but there was some speculation, I think, that if Ira's shoulder healed and he didn't play there, apparently he's close to graduating, that he might even graduate and could come here and join you in midseason. Is that even a possibility?
No, he's gonna finish his senior year of high school.
Do you expect he'll play there, or is he gonna?
Yes, I think they're cautious in making sure that they give him his full allotment of time to not rush him back. But sooner rather than later, I think he'll be cleared to play his senior year.
Specific to Barcelona, there's some said that he looks like TJ, plays like TJ, maybe a little like Nick as well, maybe athletic like Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And how rare is that combination where a guy like TJ, who plays like TJ, nowadays in high school sports, maybe specific to Barcelona, because he can do that, I guess.
Well, yeah, Alex Barcelo, you know, when you're around him and you're around his family and you know, you follow him, and we offered him a scholarship a long time ago. He's a winner. You know, when you win state championships, and, you know, at every level, he plays the game hard. He plays it to win. Just watching him this spring and summer playing against the nation's best, you know, he was one of the best that I saw. The team that he was on in the summer, he would carry them at certain points in each game, and he does it a lot of different ways. You know, he can beat you with a three-point shot, but he clearly passes the ball, makes his teammates better. I love him defensively. You know, T.J. McConnell didn't get enough credit while he was here. The great defender that he was, I think that has shown since he's left here, that he can guard today's NBA guards. And Alex is really underrated defensively too, and I think that's going to help his transition a lot.
Does Ray's decision to not come back after this surgery affect anything recruiting-wise? The way are players looking for, the number of players? No?
To some degree, you know, I think that we feel like we're going to lose enough that we still had a great opportunity for all these 2017 players, and you know, again, adding at least one more, or hopeful that we can add one more to the group of 4 that we signed, would be really significant towards next season as well.
We've talked about this, and this is not recruiting-wise, but is there a chance that you could find, and this happened 10, 15 years ago with Ivan Radinovich, where they found some guy somewhere across the sea to bring somebody in at semester break?
We're looking, yeah, we're looking, but it would have to be the right fit, and it would have to be something that wouldn't affect the 4 that we've just recruited. You know, we've painted a picture for each of these guys, and it's important that we keep our word there. So anybody that we would bring in, as long as that promise isn't compromised on our end, and it's somebody that I think in their own right could contribute or have a future here, then we would do it. But I think the other part is just adding somebody to add somebody that kind of goes into the other category of, you know, the number one thing we can do is get it right when we bring somebody here. So if we do bring someone in at the break, or we would bring somebody in the spring, we want to make sure that they're a great fit with the group of 4 that we have coming in, and that they have a future here.
Is it getting easier for you and the coaching staff to pinpoint those who love college basketball sincerely versus saying they love college basketball?
I don't know if it's becoming easier. I think it's a much higher priority than it's ever been. There's always that feel sometimes as a college coach that you can change those that you're recruiting, that you can change the behavior. But, you know, I think that the greatest indicator for us as these young kids having success within our program is to look at their past. And usually what they do before they come here, they'll follow that pattern while they're here. That doesn't mean they won't grow and mature, but I think we're really trying to, like you had mentioned, pay closer attention to that.
Can you detail, at least in general, who you might be looking at, if it's even a possibility at the break? Like, could it be a JUCO, or could it be a fifth-year prep guy who's close to graduating, or you know, or international? I mean,
well, the other thing you just have to keep in mind that, and this happened with us last year, just because somebody signs in April and doesn't sign in November doesn't mean they'll make a decision in April. You know, they could make a decision in the next couple of weeks, late November, early December. They can make their final decision at a much earlier time than signing in April. So a lot will depend on how this goes for us over the next couple of months.
oh no, I mean, even for this season, is it still possible that somebody could come in December if you got guys?
That's what I was
I don't know. That's a hard. Yeah, that would really have to be something that would be a special opportunity for us to do, because, I mean, you're going to sacrifice at that point about 50 practices. That's half the season in terms of practices, and really the entire non-conference season, and then to displace potentially somebody that has been a part of that. I'm not saying no, because you never know, but we're not really looking at that right now. If we would add any transfer, it would probably be somebody that would sit out like Dylan Smith is doing for us right now.
That was my question.
Yeah.
So you say one more. I mean, is it getting tricky? You've got so many great players lined up, players here. Now that you've got these four, when you go out for other 2017s, are they starting to resist you, saying, where am I going to play? How's it going to work out? You've already got it. Do you need to wait till the spring to see who's leaving, maybe?
No, I mean, well, last game that I coached here, we had 7 scholarship players available. That's all I'm talking about.
You talk about already defensively. How rare is it to find a guy whose identity in high school is about defense and not necessarily about offense?
Very difficult. Again, those that have that identity tend to keep it. Rondé was like that. Aaron Gordon was like that. TJ was like that. And then I think there's others that really adopt that when they get here. Nick Johnson would be somebody who really adopted it. But if you think about his ability level, I see the same thing in Kobe Simmons. You know, I think as Kobe learns the importance of defense and continues to get repetitions and learn through game mistakes and also game plays that he does a great job, he has immense talent on the defensive end. His speed, his jumping ability, the fact he's 6'5". One of the really optimistic features of this year's team is to continue to watch him embrace that and develop that side of his game, because that will help us win more than anything else. You know, getting another perimeter player up to speed who's really, really adept at being able to guard the other team.
Does Ray's injury history stick in the back of mind as you head out onto the recruiting trail at all? No,
I mean, it's like, hey, all of us could, you know, go through a green light here this afternoon and get hit by a car going the other way. Knock on wood here. It just happens. You know, you can't look at life that way. But, you know, Ray's situation, I don't even really want to attach the word sad, because, you know, he's got a bright future. He really does. And it wouldn't surprise me if Ray doesn't go on to become a millionaire, an incredibly successful person because of how talented he is outside of basketball. And it's going to be a fun ride to some degree, just to watch him adjust and adapt, still be a part of what we do, but just really be able to pursue these dreams and goals that I think he'll find with the personality, the charisma that he has. You know, he's a sharp-looking guy. His story is incredible. And I think that he'll rely a lot on those lessons that he's learned and go on to do some great things. You can't simulate a career-ending injury, because it's not just the injury, it's the process of working so hard to come back and that being taken away. Not once, but 3 times. So when you go through that, you have character that a lot of people will never have.
Did he have a surgery, by the way?
Not yet.
Where does that stand?
Next couple weeks, I think we're trying to coordinate it with the Thanksgiving break. You know, we're 3 weeks or 4 weeks away from the end of the first semester, so, you know, it just makes sense for him to get as far along as possible before he goes into that, because, you know, it's not an easy surgery. You know, it takes a toll, and, you know, it beats you up. It's just, you're not going to be yourself for some time. So, the fact he's got to go through it 3 times in such a short period of time is tough enough.
Does he handle it differently knowing he's not coming back to basketball this time? Is it more about, you know, setting himself up for life and making sure?
Yeah, I think the rehab won't be as extensive, for sure. But he's still going to have to do quite a bit of rehab, because he's going to have to build his body up just so that he can lead an active, normal lifestyle. You know, but it just really is, you know, just for him, even more so than our team. It's just to watch a guy go down like that is, man, it's just something you hope you never see again.
And then after the surgery, you expect him to be with the team, around the team, and helping out in any way.
Yeah, and we're just trying to get his niche right now. You know, it seems like you can just snap your fingers and, hey, Ray, do this. But, you know, he's a student, he's a young guy, and so I think first is just to get a sense of comfort for him to be around, and then start to give him, you know, a role during games. Like I told him the other day, you know, his first and foremost task is to finish the semester here and get his surgery, and then, you know, do as much as you can, and then we'll give him more and more to do. And I think he'll have a very positive role, because everybody on our team looks up to him so much.
You anticipate him possibly even for another 3 years being with you? And
Yes.
could it be, I know these bleed sort of each way, but would it be more as a manager, or maybe possibly as a GA type of?
Probably more towards a GA. Whatever NCAA rules we're allowed to have attached to his situation, we will do.
Those are any news on Kadeem? Any updates?
You know, Kadeem's really a day-by-day situation. It's not the next 2 weeks, not the next month. It's more each day, and a lot will depend on today and really even tomorrow, whether he'll play tomorrow. And then the same thing will happen Saturday, Sunday, moving forward. But I think that, you know, each day that goes by, he's in a better position.
You expect him to practice somewhat today, or what?
Today he's going to do non-contact, and then based on his pain, how he can move, we'll either give him less, more, and then we'll take tomorrow as a new challenge and a new day. But he is making progress. You know, he was running full speed, and the Michigan State player just hit his knee at running full speed, and, you know, that caused the injury, the bruising. So it's more about letting it calm down than anything else. Like I told you, there's no structural damage. He has no surgery needs. But that could happen where if we rushed him back, or we weren't patient, or we didn't, you know, take into consideration what had happened to him, that he could really set himself back for a significant period of time in the next week or two. So we have that in the forefront of our mind.
When did that happen? Because obviously you finished the
The
game.
12-minute mark.
Real quickly about tomorrow night's game, is there something about Sacred Heart style that they hang their head on, that kind of like Bakersfield, they had certain things they like to do?
You know, they're a transition team. They have their leading scorer who comes in averaging 26 points. They just beat Hofstra. Hofstra in the East has been a perennial excellent mid-major program. And so for Sacred Heart to beat them was a big victory for them. So they're coming off of that win. And but they're a transition team. And you know, every team we play, you know, just has an opportunity to beat us. You know, especially in our current state and situation, we have to really be ready to go, and, you know, we have to guard against foul trouble, be smart. I hope that we learn some lessons against Bakersfield that we can take into this game and perhaps be better.
Back to Aiden real quick. It sounds like he personally does want to go to college, rather. So any concerns whatsoever in terms of his eligibility?
No.
Sean, we saw Paolo get in the game the other night. Can you speak about the first time you met with him? Was it prior to him being a student here at the university?
No, Paulo was part of us last year, again, because of circumstances of some Ray getting hurt and some injuries that we went through. If you remember Caleb Tarzuski, he went almost the entire non-conference season. He played a couple at the beginning, then we sat him out until Pac-12 started. So we had a similar situation a year ago where we dealt with a lot of injuries, so adding somebody from the student body made sense. You know, Paulo with his background, size, great kid. We added him. So, but yeah, you know, we're counting on really all three of these walk-ons that are part of our program and part of our everyday. We're counting on them right now to be ready to go. You never know in the game. They're one play, one foul away from contributing.
Did you add a fourth one yet, or what?
Not yet, but we could potentially here in the short term.
You said you already have the tryout, so I didn't know, was there somebody in that tryout you might go back to look at him again?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And go that way. Not, you don't have any guys?
No, because, you know, today you have to be cleared by the clearinghouse. We have to, you know, look at their GPA, have to obviously make sure that they know what they're signing up for, et cetera. So it's bigger than just adding them right away. It takes a longer process. So we're in that process right now.
Has Rich Rod said, hey, I may have a guy who could help you in practice or something?
No. I think with all the injuries they've sustained, I think he's pretty much focused on football.
Are there any hidden gems out on campus? I'm sure you've seen some guys who can play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in that world right now. You know, we're just trying to add a high character, good kid, and somebody who has a background playing.
Just one final thing on this is technically part of the Vegas tournament thing and the format and kind of how the bracket looks for you guys. This time around, you get two majors here and then go to Vegas for.
Obviously, we're playing Santa Clara when we get there. We know Herb Sendek very, very well. Anytime you deal with a first-year coach, I'm sure he's trying to implement his system and style. But you know, nobody needs to remind our group what happened in last year's game in a very similar circumstance, an exempt tournament in California, and you know they really should have won the game. They could have won the game. Obviously, one of the players on our team, you know, had a career night, scored almost 40, felt like 50, and he's back. So. We have all the motivation when we get there to play them to know that they're a quality team from Gonzaga's conference. Very, very good coach and somebody who has a history with our program, knowing how we play. And but we're not there yet, obviously. And then the winner, loser of Vanderbilt, Butler, both of those programs speak for themselves. But exempt tournaments, you know, they're a real part of our philosophy. You know, next year we play in the Battle of Atlantis in the Bahamas, which would be a great tournament for our program team fans. And the year after, we're back in Maui, and I think that field is all but settled. But that field is an incredible field. So, all right. Mm-hmm.